Probably the most common term you'll hear in real estate investment and finance is cap rate. It's something you don't hear a lot in other types of investment, but it's a very simple and very basic concept. So what it means is a cap rate in full terms would be a capitalization rate. And all it really is the property's net operating income. What the property itself generates is income after expenses, divided by the value or the estimated value of the building. So if a building can generate a net operating income of $7 million and it has a value of $100 million, it's 7 divided by 100, that's a 7% cap rate. And why is it used? It's used as an indicator of how much income am I getting per dollar spent. So if I have a 5 cap, I'm only getting $5 per $100 of value. If I get a 10 cap, I'm getting $10 of income for every $100 invested. So it's an indicator of yield or return. Now, most people in most other industries, you'll hear about price-earnings ratio. You'll hear about price or the value of something divided by how much income it generates, its earnings. So, for example, you'll hear some company has a 20-time PE ratio, a 20-time multiple of price relative to earnings. Well, if you think about it, that's just the inverse of a cap rate. So where a price earning is value divided by income, a cap rate is income divided by value. Which is to say, if I know what my multiple is, I obviously know what my cap rate is. So to take a very simple example, if the income is 5 and the asset value is 100, that's a 5 cap. But that means the value of 100 divided by 5 of income is a 20 multiple. And of course 20 is the inverse of 5%. So it's a very simple metric. If you're a seller of a property, you would like to have low cap rates. That is, you don't want to have to give up much income for every dollar of value you receive. If you're a buyer, you tend to want to get a lot of income for every dollar of value you create. So it's confusing to people because most people have heard of PEs or price earning ratios rather than cap rates. But once you sit back and say, if I know price divided by earnings, I know earnings divided by price by just doing the inverse. Why is it used? It's used to give people a sense of where a market's at or what an asset's sold for. So you'll commonly have people in the business say, oh, apartment buildings in Manhattan are selling at around a 4 cap. Well, that means for every $100 of value, you're only getting $4 of operating income. You might hear that office buildings in a small town in Ohio have a 10 cap. And you say, well, boy, for every $100 of value, I get $10 of income. Why don't I then just do the 10 cap rather than the 4 cap? And the answer is, of course, the risk is different and the growth potential is different. A building with a 10 cap, yes, you get a lot of current income, but may have very poor growth potential in its earnings. You take, in contrast, an apartment in Manhattan may have a very low yield but has a very high growth potential, and therefore your income stream will increase over time. And the other dimension is risk, which is that you want to have assets, other things equal, that have very low risk. And when you have lower risk, you'll tend to have lower cap rates. That is, you're paying for the lower risk by paying more for any given income stream. So don't let cap rates get you confused. It's just a simple metric of operating income divided by value.